Welcome to J is for Justice podcast. If live breaking news and following true crime is your thing, then please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like what you see in my videos, please consider giving them a thumbs up. Hey everyone, welcome back to J is for Justice. My name is Jay. I am your host. If you are new here, please consider subscribing and joining in the chat. We have a very nice group of people. We've been chatting beforehand. Hi, everybody. Ain't no party like a J is for Justice Wednesday night watch party, aka Wonderful Wednesday. If we meet all of our goals this week, which we are about a quarter of the way there across the board. Thank you for bringing that up, Shell. Let's get your name on that wheel for Friday. If we meet all the goals by donating, gifting memberships, or super chatting, we will spin the wheel of Friday. So it's good to see everybody. I hope that you are all having a good week. My week is winding down. I had my grand here for a few days. So now I'm getting back into the swing of things. So I've missed seeing you guys. I've been doing some research today. And I got a couple good lives coming up. So we've got tomorrow, we're going to be covering Diddy. Is Diddy done? It should change that instead of did he do it to is Diddy done? Because that's a crazy, crazy thing. So we're going to go over the lawsuit a little bit as much as we can. Some of it, it's pretty graphic. Like there's even a trigger warning on the freaking lawsuit. Karchi coming in hot.
If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
Coming in hot,
just like the fajita. Thank you so much. Let's get that donate link up in the chat. Good idea, Island. Diddy done it. Diddy is done. So we're going to go over that tomorrow. We're going to cover the triple raids that went on in New York, LA, and here in Florida. In Miami. Thank you so much for your support, Karchi. It's good to see you, Karchi. We haven't seen you in a while, so it's nice to have you in chat tonight. So before we begin with the Nancy Grace watch along, what's up, Charms?
You're awesome.
Before we begin, I want to thank the moderators that are here. We've got Olip, we've got Potato coming in hot. We have Shell. Who says Diddy is done? Kendo. And I think that's it for moderators. If you need anything from your moderators, they are so helpful. If you want to know how to become a member, all you have to do is ask a mod. Thank you so much, Shell, for your super sticker. Thanks so much. All right. So before we begin with the watch along of Nancy, which I thought was good. I saw a lot of people commenting before the live saying it wasn't really the hot seat. It was the warm seat, that it never got hot. So I'm going to put a poll up because I want to know what you guys think, because I know you've watched this already. The more you watch, the more you know, really. So we're going to put a poll up, and I'm going to ask you guys what you thought. Do you think that Nancy asked the right questions? Do you think it went well, or do you think it didn't go well? So let's see. How do you think Nancy did with questions? Okay. If you haven't watched it, just don't answer. What's up, Crime Solver? Come on back. Come on back. Look at Island Thrifts just came in super hot with a donation through J4J411.live. Thank you so much. That's super hot.
Coming in hot, just like the fajita.
Thank you so much, Island Thrifties. Island Thrifties always has our random fun facts. Hey, Angie. Thank you, Angie, for being here tonight. It is like Angie's bedtime, and she's here anyhow. Thank you so much, Jackie Bushable Baked Beans, coming in hot with a super sticker.
Coming in hot, just like the fajita.
Bring it all in.
Bring it all in. Bring it all in. I think that Nancy Grace has interviewed enough people to know that who's sus and who isn't, and what she needs to ask to kind of throw the wrench in there. Chicken Lady says, I think she could have went harder. Carolina Girl, hello. Marie Arnold, thank you for becoming thank you for being a member for a year. Let's celebrate a year with Marie Arnold here as a member of J is for Justice. Thank you, Crime Solver. Crime Solver says, hi, Jay. What's up? Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Pawpaw.
All right. Lottie Dottie, what's up? Okay, so before we begin on the Nancy Grace, get your votes in. I want to read the lovely Melissa B, the one and only Melissa B. I want to read her theory because she says, I will probably miss this live, but here is my theory. Chris was in Memphis. Now, this is an interesting theory, so listen, hear me out. Hear me out. Thank you so much, Carolina Girl. Carolina Girl, I have a soundbite just for you. Okay, so she says, I will probably miss this live, but here is my theory. Chris was in Memphis the night that Sebastian went missing. The phone call really happened, and they were on the phone disciplining Sebastian together. I think she eventually locked Sebastian out of the house. Chris was on the phone making sure the punishment fit the crime. I think Sebastian wandered off during the time he was locked out, and ultimately he met his fate. Katie couldn't locate him. Chris drives back from Memphis at midnight to help Katie look for Sebastian. They have always said midnight. During the time they've always said midnight is the time they ended the phone call to go to bed. From Memphis to Hendersonville is about 3.5 hours. If Chris left at midnight, he would get home around 3:30. Now cue the flashlight video. It's 3:30 a.m. I think this was Chris and Katie looking for Sebastian after locking him out of the house. What do you guys think of that theory? What do you guys think of that theory? Because I think there's something to the retention pond. He could have been driving back the whole time they were on the phone. That's true. But think about her theory. Because Chris says without a doubt that the dogs snuck him or had his scent, snuck him. The dogs tracked his scent to the retention pond. Did they find him in the retention pond and move him? There's Melissa B right there. Melissa B, we're just going over your theory. Maybe she locked him in the garage and he got out. It's baffling. You think he would have been seen on camera? That's a good thought. That's a good thought. Yeah. G of twins. Wouldn't the police be able to check his phone pings? Yeah. I mean, for sure. For sure. I mean, it's been a month. You'd think they'd be able to get records back by now through search warrants, right? I haven't heard the dispatch call. Where is that, NH girl? I don't think I've heard that, have I? I don't think I have. Roxy. Hey, Myron. I'm wearing your shirt, Myron. I love it. It's one of my favorite t-shirts now. Myron is our sweetheart. He donated things for the Wheel of Friday that we spin off when we meet the goals for the membership super chats and tip donations. And the dad couldn't leave work right away and arrived 6 hours later, allegedly, right? Because he can't be there. He can't place himself at the house. What's up, Jess? Marie thinks it's possible. Troy says, I think she snapped and called him for direction on what to do, and he hurried home to help cover things up. Very possible. The pond is 3 feet deep, according to Chris. I love it, Myron. I love it. So thank you, Melissa B, for that well thought out theory, because I think it's really interesting. Because I'm kind of on the fence. I don't know if, her form of punishments. I mean, these people are pretty fucking mean. So I'm not sure that, I put much past them. We covered the ferreters who actually had their kid living in a box. We have covered some pretty raunchy cases. He said they drained it, Island. Paula McComb says, I believe it was 3 hours before the biological dad could get there. Right. I think he tells us in Nancy Grace, it's 3 hours and 37 minutes, doorstep to doorstep. Oh, Katie looks mean AF. I agree. They're both mean motherfuckers. So one other thing before we begin, I was doing some research on Chris and Katie, and I was looking at his job in the Navy because I was wondering what this dude did in the Navy. So his title was career counselor. So I looked up what a career counselor is, and a career counselor in the U.S. Navy helps like people when they're done transition to like a civilian job and stuff, and like helps with resources. So I just thought that it kind of shedded a little bit of light on him, because I'm not trying to be mean here, but he doesn't seem like the brightest bulb in the pack. So I just wanted to let you guys know that was his position in the military. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that's his position. And it seems like he wanted to be more important than he actually is, in my opinion.
If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
And she was allegedly in the military too. And she's a installation technician. She's so weird. She has no emotion. No emotion from her. He's just a blubbering idiot. All right, I'm going to quit with my opinions. Let's watch Nancy. And a special thanks to olive juice and potato for clipping. And I know Olive had to do it twice because she did the audio only. So thank you so much, Olive, for your hard work and for doing that over again for me. I really, really appreciate you.
You're being a Karen.
All right, let's start. We got to rewind. I just had that there for your viewing pleasure because, they're so pleasant to look at.
Thank you for being with us. I want to go straight back to when Sebastian goes missing. Miss Proudfoot, I understand that the day before, which would have been Sunday, if I've got the information correct, that you guys went out, you went to dinner, you went to somewhere, I believe you said BJ's, where he had a, quote, colossal popcorn.
So already, she already picked up on the colossal popcorn. I loved that. But why didn't anyone ever ask where they went to eat dinner? So she's like, we went to BJ's, then we went to the bowling alley, and then just him and I went out to dinner. Just him and I went out to dinner. Oh, he did shave. He shaved the old goatee. Good eye, Roxy lady. I didn't notice that.
Then you came home that night, and around 9 p.m., you tell Sebastian to go to bed. He says, okay, and goes to his room. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That night, I understand from previous statements you've made that you went to bed around midnight. Is that correct?
It is.
And to you, Mr. Proudfoot, Chris Proudfoot, did you also go to bed at midnight or before or after?
No, ma'am. We went to bed around the same time because we were on the phone together.
And
He was not home.
please excuse any of my questions. I'm simply
He was
trying
not
to find
home.
out more about that night. Do you two sleep in the same bedroom?
He wasn't actually in the home at all that weekend. Christopher
You were
wasn't.
not home.
No,
Okay,
ma'am.
so where were you, Mr. Proudfoot?
I was in Memphis, Tennessee.
How far away is that?
3 hours and 37 minutes from doorstep to doorstep.
And what were you doing
See?
in Memphis?
Working.
Where do you
Hit 37-minute doorstep to doorstep. Like, dude, you're giving way too many details.
3 hours and 37 minutes from doorstep to doorstep.
And what were you doing in Memphis?
Working.
Where do you work?
I'm currently working, or was working, at the St. Jude Children's Hospital construction project.
Yes, I'm very familiar with St. Jude's. You said you were working there. Are you no longer working there?
Right now, that's up in the air.
Well, you've been gone ever since Sebastian went missing, so I understand. When you are home, do you two sleep in the same bedroom?
Okay, so I'm wondering why she keeps asking if they sleep in the same bedroom. What is the point of her asking? She asked more than once, too. But let's go back about 10 seconds here.
That's up in the air.
Well, you've been gone ever since Sebastian went missing. So
You've been gone ever since Sebastian went missing. What does that mean? How has he been gone ever since Sebastian went missing? Am I missing something here?
I understand. When you are home, do you two sleep in the same bedroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Is this a 3-bedroom home?
Yes, ma'am.
Where is your room as it relates to Sebastian's room?
It's on the opposite end of the house. The master bedroom's on one side, and the other 2 bedrooms are on the other side of the house.
Okay, so your master bedroom is on one side of the house and Sebastian's room is on the other side of the house. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you have a 3rd bedroom that I believe you keep for your other daughter. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that Faith? Is your other daughter named Faith?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So where is Faith's bedroom as it relates to Sebastian's bedroom?
It's in the back side of the house. Sebastian's bedroom is
So
on the
it's-
front side of the house.
Okay. So his bedroom is away from Faith's bedroom and away from your master bedroom. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Is Sebastian's room on a top floor or a ground level?
We have a ranch style house. It's a 1.5 story, so everything is flat, and then you have the bonus room above the garage.
Okay. So his is on ground floor, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That morning, was there any sign of a break-in through a window, a front door, a back door, a sliding glass door, anything at all?
No, ma'am.
Okay. No sign of forced entry. Was anything taken from the home at all?
Not that we could find anything. We couldn't find anything missing.
I want to circle back to Sebastian's shoes regarding if anything was missing. Do you have a burglar alarm?
La, 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 la. You don't hold a count.
No, ma'am.
Do you have a Ring doorbell cam?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Have the 2 of you taken a polygraph?
I have.
I have not.
Okay, that was crazy. I have not. Wasn't it him all over Facebook saying, yes, and the result is passed?
I think you've got a Ouija board down your pants. You're going to pull that out.
Be willing to?
I've offered and volunteered on many occasions to take a polygraph, and I was told directly by law enforcement because of my whereabouts, I did not need one.
I understand.
But Nancy's like, let me take a drink because I am about to call this guy out on his shit. What is he even talking about?
And I was told directly by law enforcement because of my whereabouts, I did not need one.
I understand. Miss Proudfoot, did you pass your polygraph?
I did.
That night, Miss Proudfoot, at midnight when you went to bed, what did you do until midnight?
I had been reading a chapter that I needed to, and I had been talking to my husband on the phone. I was falling asleep on him, so that's when he told me it was around midnight. He told me to go ahead and put the dogs up and go to bed, and that's what I did. I got.
Okay. You know what else he says? Look at him. Oh, Chris Proudfoot, I'm exhausted and my lies are catching up with me. You know what? He says they went to bed at the same time. How can you go to bed at the same time, yet she falls, I can't with her. She falls asleep and you're still awake and you say, hey, you better go to bed 3 hours later. Doesn't even make sense. I think they felt like they maybe wish they didn't. But you know what? They almost had to do it because Seth did it. And Nancy was reaching out and reaching out and reaching out. And the more that they ignore Nancy, the more she's going to say, we've asked the Proudfoots and they aren't responding. So I think they were backed in a corner with this one and they were on their best behavior. And I think he told her, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, and don't give any other details unless she asks. They were ready. They were prepared. They were focused. That's why she's not laughing. Because now it's more serious. Thank you, Myron.
Got up, put the dogs where they sleep, and then I myself went to bed.
Where do they sleep?
They have a big pen.
A pen, is it inside or outside?
Pen.
Inside.
That reminds me of another question. Do you guys have a motion sensor light or lights on the outside of your house?
Yes, we do have lights on the outside of our house.
Did they activate that night?
They're not motion censored. We have lights.
Were they
but not
on that
motion
night?
censored.
Exactly,
Okay.
potato.
Were they on that night? So the lights were out the whole night?
Yes, ma'am. We don't typically turn the floodlights on.
Were there any lights outside the house on at all?
Just my little solar lights that we have in the garden.
There's
Yep.
2 lights on the side of the house above the garage that are on at all times.
Oh, yeah, those are on.
Oh, there's a light above the garage that's on at all times?
There's 2, yes, ma'am.
And that just came up. He's been missing for a month. And they're just now realizing that there's lights on? Right. She works in security. She's a technician who works on security systems. But she didn't put one in her own house? $500,000 house?
Okay, so those lights were on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is because I heard you say earlier, Mr. Proudfoot, that your neighbors have been very, very forthcoming with their Ring camera info. And I was
Yes,
trying to determine if any lights were on, what, if anything, they may have caught. But I understand from your previous interviews that nothing of any evidentiary value was caught. And also, in another statement you gave, I understand that the video of the 2 flashlights, and I'm saying that with air quotes, that's not exactly what that was at all. We now don't believe that 2 flashlights were observed around your home. Is that correct?
Yes.
You're very correct.
You're very correct.
Okay. Question regarding your vehicles. Ms. Proudfoot, what makes...
Okay, before we get to the vehicles, I'm trying to figure out why he's so hell-bent on saying that the dogs traced Sebastian sent to the retention pond. But they're very hell-bent that that was not flashlights at 3 a.m. So they're really saying, no, those lights were not flashlights. And then they're saying, yes, 3 dogs hit on the retention pond. But the authorities are saying none.
make and model do you drive?
I drive an Infinity.
I drive a Infinity SUV.
Year?
2017.
Wait for this. He doesn't know the year of his
And,
truck.
sir, what do you drive?
I drive a diesel truck, Chevrolet.
A diesel truck?
Year?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I think it's a 2021, I think.
So your Infinity SUV was parked in the garage or out?
How would he not know the year of his own truck? I mean, maybe that's normal. Maybe that's normal. But for a dude so proud of his diesel, you think he'd know the year of it.
Outside the garage that night, Miss Proudfoot?
In the garage.
In the garage. And Mr. Proudfoot, your vehicle was on location in Memphis. Is that correct?
So what I wish they would have asked was, what vehicle did you go drive around and look for him in? Because her garage was closed with the car in the garage. You're going to go out and look for your missing son, drive home, not find him, and then put the car in the garage and shut the door? That doesn't seem to make much sense. Is it because he wants to try to throw people off? Did he change something on his truck to change what the year would look like? You know what I'm saying? Like, people can put like different, like if there's a truck in the model year changes, you can add something that aftermarket that makes it look like another model type thing. I don't know. I don't think that he forgot. Yeah, exactly, Melanie. He's got a trailer, a motorcycle, etc. He knows. He especially knows because he goes to campgrounds. They're going to say, your vehicle, you got to write that shit down at a campground. Chris, you're full of shit.
Why are people such idiots?
Correct.
Okay. So there's only one car at the home. Is that right?
There was actually a work vehicle in the driveway at the time as well, but it hasn't moved. We can't give out that information because we don't have permission.
The van hasn't moved. No one asked if it fucking moved, dude. All she asked was what other vehicles were there. Well, I noticed on his background report that he used to have a 2014 Silverado. So he definitely had an older model at one point. Yes, Stacy. He didn't want people to be able to identify him by his truck. So if he's like, oh, I think it's a 2021. But she didn't ask if that van moved. Huh. They don't want to talk about the van. They can't give any information about the van. It's owned by her company. So they haven't had permission. Was the van searched is my question. Was Sebastian transferred somewhere in that van?
From her work.
From her work.
I don't understand that. What?
Me either, Nate.
About the make and model of the vehicle.
I have a work van that was also parked in the driveway.
Why is that? If it's out in the driveway where people can see it, why is that
Top
privileged
secret,
information?
yeah.
We just don't have permission from her company to divulge that information.
Have you asked?
No, ma'am, we have not. Nobody's asked us
So
that
that
question,
was-
to be honest with you.
Okay, so you have a work van. Question to you, Miss Proudfoot, what do you do for a living?
I am an installation technician.
So weird.
That night was the
I am Katie Proudfoot. I will eat your brain.
work van blocking your driveway. Could someone go in and out of your driveway?
The van is parked at the back of my driveway, so someone can pull in, yes.
Got it. Do you park your Infinity SUV in the garage or outside the garage?
In the garage.
in the garage. Do you have an automatic garage door?
With the clicker.
Right. Do you leave that up or down at night?
Down.
Could anybody lift it up? Like, is there an on and off button outside, or do you have to know a code or have the clicker to open it?
You'd have to know the code or have the clicker.
Does Sebastian know the code?
Not to the garage door, but to the man doors.
The man doors?
Not to the garage door, but to the house doors?
Did this bitch say man doors or main doors? I thought I heard to the man doors. What the hell does that mean?
Man doors.
She said man doors. The fuck is a man door?
Not to the garage door, but to the man doors.
Not to the garage door, but to the house doors?
The regular door, yes.
So is there a code to get in your home, or do you use a regular key?
There's a code.
And he knows that code?
Yes, ma'am.
Question. I'm just trying to figure out how he would have gotten out, or if somebody came into the home. Could they have gotten through the garage door? No, unless they know the code or had the clicker, which they did not. Do you lock your doors at night?
Yes, ma'am.
Could he have left on his own through those doors?
He could, yes, ma'am.
But I heard in another interview where Mr. Proudfoot said he was not a, quote, wanderer. He didn't wander around. He had never left the home before on his own. Is that right?
Correct. We haven't had issues with him running or taking off in the past.
Okay, let me ask you a couple of questions regarding the doors.
Listen in the background.
Do you have any home surveillance, anything at all?
I want to know who's playing the sirens in the background. Do you guys hear those sirens going?
That would have given us an idea or a clue if the door had been opened or not, or a window?
Not directly from our house.
Well, then from where?
That's what we were hoping that neighborhood ring cameras and may have picked something up.
Gotcha. I want to go back to that night. You said you were up to...
Was that done on purpose to freak them out? Look at them. They're like, we are robots. We will eat your brains. And Nancy actually puts her thing up to I think that was done on purpose. Did you hear it? Stopped right by them.
Us an idea or a clue if the door had been opened or not, or a window?
Not directly from our house.
Well, then from where?
That's what we were hoping that neighborhood ring cameras and may have picked something up.
Gotcha. I want to go back to that night. You said you were up till midnight. You were reading something. What were you reading?
A chapter for school.
A chapter for school. Are you in school?
I was, yes, ma'am. I've since dropped my classes for the time.
What are you studying?
Let's go back a minute and look how big Chris Proudfoot's eyes are when that siren goes by.
If somebody came into the home, could they have gotten through the garage door? But on his own. Is that right?
Correct. We haven't had issues with him running or taking off in the past.
Okay, let me ask you a couple of questions regarding the doors. Do you have any home surveillance, anything at all that would have given us an idea or a clue if the door had been opened or not, or a window?
Not directly from our house.
Watch
Well, then
his
from
eyes.
where?
Watch. When it gets close,
That's what we were hoping, that neighborhood ring cameras and may have picked something up.
Watch.
Gotcha.
Look at his eyes.
Gotcha. I want to go back to that night. You said you were up till midnight. You were reading something. What were you reading?
A chapter for school.
A chapter for school.
A chapter for school. Are you in school?
I was, yes, ma'am. I've since dropped my classes for the time.
What are you studying?
Business administration.
Business.
Gotcha.
It's none of your business. She's studying business administration.
Business administration.
Business. So we got business. And then what was the other thing she said?
Gotcha.
Nancy's like, yeah, gotcha. You're going to DeVry University for business administration.
Did I ask them to do that?
What are you studying?
Business administration.
Gotcha.
Yes, ma'am. I've since dropped my classes for the time.
What are you studying?
Business administration.
Gotcha. Where do you go to school?
DeVry.
So that night you go to bed at midnight after you've been talking to Mr. Proudfoot on the phone. You put the dogs away in a cage, a crate, inside the home, and you go to bed. Did you check on Sebastian at that time?
No, ma'am.
I did not.
Okay. Do you normally?
Not typically. Since he's gotten older, I've not been checking on him as frequently throughout the night because normally he's good to go in his room once he goes to bed.
Earlier you had stated you heard a noise in his room before you went to bed. What time was that?
Around 10 o'clock.
10 p.m. What did it sound like?
Just a thud.
A thud. You stated that you said, look, I don't care what you're doing in there. Go to bed. Is that right?
I was on the couch, which is near his room, and I said, Bubba, did you fall out of the bed? And he said, no, ma'am. And I said, well, whatever you're doing in there, knock it off and go to sleep.
Diarrhea of the mouth.
So you heard his voice at 10 p.m.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any idea what the sound actually was?
I do not, no.
So she called the sound at 10 a thud. A thud. Bubba, did you fall out of bed? And she claims he said, no, ma'am. So at this time, she would have been on the couch, still on the beat with Chris. Why do I picture these people on Nextels on bait? Chris, Katie, hit me up on that bait now. Mr. Chris.
If he were to go out his window, what would he step on?
Mulch and bushes.
Did you say mulch or mush?
Mulch.
Mulch.
Mulch. Okay. Got it. Got it. Has he ever gone out the window before?
No, ma'am.
Is his room on the front of the house or the back of the house?
Front.
Front. Do any of your neighbors' ring cams point toward your house? Could they pick that up?
They do, but it's so dark that they can only see after it gets so dark at night, they can only see certain things where there's light.
I thought there were the two lights on.
On the opposite side of the house.
Okay. Can we talk about Sebastian's shoes? Why are you convinced Sebastian left without shoes on? Or are you?
Well, the reason that came about is because all of his shoes are accounted for inside the house still.
Are you positive?
I'm positive.
How do you know what clothes he was wearing?
The clothes that we described are the ones I saw him in when he went to bed.
That morning, you woke up at 6 o'clock. Is that the normal time you wake up?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a heavy sleeper?
Off and on.
Do you take any medication?
Off and on? Are you a heavy sleeper? Oh, what should I say, Chris? I can't decide without Chris telling me, so off and on.
Why are people such idiots?
Medication at night that would make you sleep?
No, ma'am.
But you heard nothing.
I did not know.
So we know he is alive and well at 10 p.m. At 6 a.m. He's gone. You say he's never left before. Is that right?
Correct. He's never run off before.
And could I confirm, where was his bio dad at the time he went missing?
I believe he was at work in Nashville.
Had there been any family argument or altercation prior to him going missing?
No, ma'am.
And Mr. Proudfoot, when did you leave town?
Early February.
This gets confusing right here, too.
So you had been gone for days before he went missing. Is that correct?
Correct, ma'am.
Had you visited home since you left?
You said from when I initially left?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. I came home February 26th, the morning I was told that he was missing.
From the time that you left for the job in Memphis to February 26th, did you visit the home?
Yes, ma'am.
When?
I was home. I can't give exact dates. Law enforcement has told me not to provide exact dates, but I had been home multiple times prior to February. And then I left early February and then didn't come back till February 26th, the morning he was missing.
So you were not home from the time you left early February till Feb 26. Is that right?
Correct, ma'am.
Where were you living in Memphis?
I have an RV trailer that I stay in at an RV park.
RV park. Okay. Following back up on that morning.
Okay, so what I would have asked is, when you leave the job, do you haul your fifth wheel back home? Or do you leave at the RV site and drive your truck home? So he's saying he hasn't been home all month. And ma'am or no ma'am, in Tennessee or no Tennessee, this guy's a prick. He beat a special needs child with a belt. L.E. Why would L.E. tell him not to give the exact dates of being home before beginning of February? They wouldn't. Right. She didn't ask that either, Ray. You're right. That's a good one. She didn't ask if Katie drove to Memphis to visit him. Right. He has a fifth wheel. So does he leave that at a campground and come home, or does he haul the fifth wheel with his big diesel truck? Yeah, I don't believe that no. Stacey, I'm not buying the But they, if they did have a security system, why would they lie? Because the cops have searched their house for at least 10 times. The cops would know if they had a security system by now.
Morning. You search the home, Miss Proudfoot. Then you get in your vehicle and you start searching. Did Sebastian know how to drive?
No, ma'am.
Was your car in the same location when you woke up that morning as it was the night before?
Yes, ma'am.
Has your car been searched by police?
Multiple times. Yes, ma'am.
Have scent dogs looked at your car?
Yes, ma'am.
So your car's in the same place. You get in the car, you start looking in the neighborhood for him. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So your car's in the same place. You get in the car, you start looking in the neighborhood for him. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Then you call Mr. Proudfoot, right?
I believe I was already on the phone with him at that point.
Okay. Question. Who called 911?
I did.
I did.
You did.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
time?
Without looking at a call log, I can't give you the exact time, but on or about 6:20.
On or about? What
And
talking
had
about?
you guys been talking on the phone before 6 a.m. or did you initially call Mr. Proudfoot at the time you realized Sebastian was gone?
I called him when I realized Sebastian was gone.
Have you guys been out looking for Sebastian?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I agree, Butch.
We were given information that you guys have left the home. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
I'm going back to work.
You're going back to work. What about you, Miss Proudfoot?
No, I'm not going back to work. Not yet, at least.
Did you leave the home also, Miss Proudfoot?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
To accompany my husband going back to work, and then I'm coming back.
Thank you, Sirius.
Okay, when will you be back? Do you know yet?
No, not yet.
Are you concerned about being away while the search is ongoing?
Absolutely, I am.
Then why are you going?
Because my son could be anywhere, and we're looking everywhere and anywhere.
Okay.
I've got a question for you.
Yes,
I want
ma'am.
to find out about Mr. Proudfoot hitting
Here
Sebastian
we go. Here's the belt,
with a
Jess.
belt. What
It's
happened?
horrible.
That was actually several years ago, and it
To
was...
Mr. Proudfoot. To Mr. Proudfoot. To Mr. Proudfoot.
Okay, so look at Katie's face. She done got cut off. The belt story is brought up. She answers. She's given some bullshit answer. Nancy says,
Cut his mic. Cut his mic.
Mr. Proudfoot. Watch. See, so like maybe it was said between them, like, okay, if they bring up the belt, I'll step in with that one. Watch. Because he's taking some heat for this belt stuff.
I've got a question for you.
Yes,
I want
ma'am.
to find out about Mr. Proudfoot hitting Sebastian with a belt. What happened?
That was actually several years ago, and it
To
was...
Mr. Proudfoot. To Mr. Proudfoot. To Mr. Proudfoot.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Proudfoot, what happened?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought you were asking me, Katie. Sebastian had gotten in trouble. He got caught lying.
Okay, so
And we asked,
he was really not prepared to tell this story. And if he was prepared, I think he realizes what a prick he sounds like. And it's hard for him to spit this story out. But trigger warning, because Sebastian has autism. And we don't know how old Sebastian was when this happened for the first time.
Katie. Sebastian had gotten in trouble. He got caught lying. And I had asked him, I said, hey, you got to have a punishment for this. He says, yes, sir. And I said, okay. So I gave him a swat with a belt on his buttocks on the outside of his clothes. One swat.
And he justifies it. Don Borchert. I was a special needs as a kid and I got spanked with a belt? ? I don't know. Did you? If you did, I'm sorry that your parents felt that a belt needed to be used on you. I'm really sorry for that. I think it's atrocious. Plus, this guy is not Sebastian's dad. Okay. Yeah, the reason he gives now makes it even worse and makes him sound like even more of a dickhead. Okay. It was one lick. It was one lick, he said. One lick, and that was it.
I've got a question for you.
Yes,
I want to find out about Mr. Proudfoot hitting Sebastian with a belt. What happened?
That was actually several years ago, and it
To
was
Mr. Proudfoot.
one-
To Mr. Proudfoot. To Mr. Proudfoot.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Proudfoot, what happened?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought you were asking me, Katie. Sebastian had gotten in trouble. He got caught lying.
Mm.
And I had asked him, I said, hey, you got to have a punishment for this. He says, yes, sir. And I said, okay. So I gave him a swat with a belt on his buttocks on the outside of his clothes.
Buttocks?
One swat.
What did he lie about?
Honestly, I don't remember at the time, but it was probably something dealing with school because that's majority where his issues lie.
Did he have other issues
okay.
at school?
Here's another reason that he's lying, that it wasn't just once. If you did that once to a child, and look at that mother, dude, she gives me creepy vibes. If you did that just once,
Psychopathy.
you would remember what he did. Okay. If that was a one-time deal, you'd remember that he did something so horrific that you got the belt. But he just told us with his own lips, his own Play-Doh lips, he said he got caught lying and he's blinking like a motherfucker. Do you want to watch it again? He got caught lying. You know why people lie? You know why kids lie to assholes like Chris Proudfoot? Because they can't win. They can't win. They tell the truth, they get in trouble. They lie, they get in trouble. With people like him, you can't win.
For you.
Yes,
I want to find out about Mr. Proudfoot hitting Sebastian with a belt. What happened?
That was actually several years ago, and it
To
was
Mr. Proudfoot.
one-
To Mr. Proudfoot. To Mr. Proudfoot.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Proudfoot, what happened?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought you were asking me, Katie.
Oh, no, you're in the hot seat,
Sebastian
motherfucker.
had gotten in trouble. He got caught lying. And I had asked him, I said, hey, you got to have a punishment for this.
You gotta
says, yes,
have
sir.
a
And I said,
punishment
okay.
for this.
So I gave him a swat with a belt on his buttocks on the outside of his clothes. One swat.
What did he lie about?
Honestly, I don't remember at the time, but it was probably something dealing with school because that's majority where his issues lie.
Did he have other issues at school?
Some behavioral stuff, but nothing too crazy.
Nothing too crazy.
What kind of behavioral stuff?
He has a hard time. He's like awkwardly socially like blending in with students.
I think you had a hard time socially blending in with students, Chris Proudfoot, because Sebastian's teacher, she said he was very high functioning, he was very smart, and he was a jokester. his teacher had more positive things to say about him than these two.
So it's a little, he's trying to figure out how to do it, but respecting people's space, he gets a little too close. And then kids don't really accept that too much. So it kind of causes an issue. But he'll not stop and he continues on. So then it causes an issue. And instead of being honest about it, he'll lie. Like, no, I didn't. Okay, Sebastian. He'll lie. Like, no, I didn't. Okay, Sebastian.
Or lying about doing
Was
work.
that the first time? Was that the first time you had ever hit him with a belt?
Yes, ma'am. The one and only time, actually.
When was this?
Years ago, ma'am.
Years ago.
Any idea how many? 3, 10, 1?
It probably at least 3 years ago.
I don't understand how that turned into a CPS or Child Protective Services complaint. How were they alerted that you hit him with a belt?
That did not turn into a CPS service call.
There were other CPS reports, right? Were they regarding your other child?
There is one in regards to my daughter that I know of out in New Mexico with my ex-wife and myself.
What happened?
At the time, my ex-wife had fled to New Mexico with my daughter. We were going through a custody and a divorce case at that time.
Candace, welcome to Patreon.
At the time, when I'd call and try to check in on my daughter, I could never reach my ex-wife at that time. So a welfare check was requested. Law enforcement told me to call CPS if I had concerns. So I called CPS. Law enforcement did make a welfare call, and that was it.
Then how does that turn into a CPS complaint against you?
I have no idea, ma'am. There's a lot of misinformation out there right now in regards to my New Mexico case.
Oh, God. Now he's going to bring this up because he knows it's sealed. But I'm really confused on this last story he told. It's word salad. I'm sorry to go back, but I have to. Because I don't understand it. He laughed when she put him on the spot and said, how many years ago? And look at Katie. I am a robot. I don't have any feelings. We're going to listen to the belt story again and then this school story word salad.
Because my son could be anywhere and we're looking everywhere and anywhere.
Preach, Tiffany.
I've got a question for you.
Yes,
I want to find out about Mr. Proudfoot hitting Sebastian with a belt. What happened?
That was actually several years ago, and it
To
was
Mr. Proudfoot. To Mr. Proudfoot. To Mr. Proudfoot.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Proudfoot, what happened?
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought you were asking me, Katie. Sebastian had gotten in trouble. He got caught lying. And I had asked him, I said, hey, you got to have a punishment for this. He says, yes, sir. And I said, okay. So I gave him a swat with a belt on his buttocks on the outside of his clothes. One swat.
What did he lie about?
Honestly, I don't remember at the time, but it was probably something dealing with school because that's majority where his issues lie.
Did he have other issues at school?
Some behavioral stuff, but nothing too crazy.
What kind of behavioral stuff?
He has a hard time. He's awkwardly socially blending in with students, so it's a little. He's trying to figure out how to do it, but respecting people's space, he gets a little too close, and then kids don't really accept that too much, so it kind of causes an issue. But he'll not stop, and he continues on. So then it causes an issue, and instead of being honest about it, he'll lie. Like, no, I didn't. Okay, Sebastian. He'll lie. Like, no, I didn't. Okay, Sebastian.
Did you see how he made fun of him and then smiled? No, I didn't. Okay, Sebastian. This guy is not a nice man.
Or lying about doing
Was that the first time? Was that
She says, or lying about, she adds in another lie. Look at, ooh, mom might be kind of aggressive. Let's listen again. Or lying about, she wants to add her own thing in that Sebastian does or did to get the belt.
Lie. Like, no, I didn't. Okay, Sebastian. He'll lie. Like, no, I didn't. Okay, Sebastian.
Or lying about doing
was that the first time? Was that
Or lying about doing work. That's what her ass just said. Or lying about doing work. Listen. Why is she chiming in? She couldn't help herself but to chime in.
Like, no, I didn't. Okay, Sebastian.
Or lying about doing
Was that the first time? Was that the first time you had ever hit him with a belt?
Yes, ma'am. The one and only time, actually.
When was this?
Years ago, ma'am.
Shook his head no. Years ago, ma'am.
Any idea how many? 3, 10, 1?
It probably at least 3 years ago.
I don't understand how that turned into a CPS or Child Protective Services complaint. How were they alerted that you hit him with a belt?
That did not turn into a CPS service call.
There were other CPS reports, right? Were they regarding your other child?
There is one in regards to my daughter that I know of out in New Mexico with my ex-wife and myself.
What happened?
At the time, my ex-wife had fled to New Mexico with my daughter. We were going through a custody and a divorce case at that time. And at the time, when I'd call and try to check in on my daughter, I could never reach my ex-wife at that time. So a welfare check was requested. Law enforcement told me to call CPS if I had concerns. So I called CPS. Law enforcement did make a welfare call, and that was it.
Then how does that turn into a CPS complaint against you?
I have no idea, ma'am. There's a lot of misinformation out there right now in regards to my New Mexico case that actually has no relevance to the Sebastian case.
Then was there even a CPS complaint against you in New Mexico?
Not that I am aware of. And my attorney and myself are well educated on my case, and there's nothing that we know of.
Me too, Jen.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
Regarding Faith's furniture.
Fate or Faith?
A few days after Sebastian goes missing, did you replace furniture in Faith's room?
No, ma'am, I have not replaced any furniture in my daughter's room.
Is there any new furniture in the home?
Yes, ma'am, there's a bed that was given to me, and it's currently in my garage.
Has anything been taken out of the home?
When were they given a bed if he wasn't home? Is his daughter's name Fate? Faith? Okay. Sounded like Fate.
No, ma'am.
Was there a TRO taken out against you regarding
Yes, ma'am.
your daughter?
Not a TRO, but a TPO.
a temporary protective order. Why was that taken out?
So in regards to that case, my ex-wife had a TPO put against her in Tennessee at the time. When we went to court, that got dissolved. I was ordered to hand my daughter back over to my ex-wife at the time. She gets in a truck. She fleds to New Mexico. 2 days later, she files one in retaliation.
Is it still in place?
No, ma'am. That was dropped within, I think, 2 weeks of it.
He laughs. That was dropped. Typical. Watch him again.
Is it still in place?
No, ma'am. That was dropped within, I think, 2 weeks of it being put in place.
I've got a question about the belt incident. You're telling me that was the only time that you ever hit Sebastian with a belt?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're also telling me that did not make it to CPS?
No, ma'am. That did not.
Yes, about a statement that Miss Proudfoot made earlier that canine dogs hit on the barn around the home and near a retention pond. Did that happen?
I'm not sure about the barn, but the retention pond, yes.
Because law enforcement says the dogs did not hit. But Miss Proudfoot says they did hit around the retention pond.
So there's been a lot of miscommunication in regards to what is and what is not. To help clear that up, law enforcement has actually spoken directly with me, showed me a few things. What I can tell you is from day one, there was 5 dogs that started the scent for the search. And then after that, from the next 8 days out from that, there have been dogs from all over the country that have come in and done searches and had scent hits in various locations. But I would say a certain percentage of them tend to go toward the same spot, which would have been a retention pond.
So the law enforcement dogs did not hit on the retention pond. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying they did. There was at least 3 that I know for a fact that did hit on the retention pond.
And the pond, those hits, have there been any other dog hits in and around the home or elsewhere?
Not from our canine team.
I'm very concerned, Brian, as you can imagine, because LA law enforcement has stated there were no canine hits outside the home, which I find very, very disturbing. Because if he had gone outside, particularly barefoot, there would definitely have been a scent trail. Now, we're hearing from the Proudfoots that there was a hit around that retention pond. How far is that pond from your home, Mr. Proudfoot?
Less than probably half a mile if you walk the whole path.
Is it through wooded area? Would he have had to walk through the woods to get there?
No, ma'am. You can actually walk either the main road or the subdivision. So the construction site is a subdivision, new addition that's being built, and they have a road that's going to be tied into our subdivision. So you could actually walk up that way, or you could walk to the main road and walk into it.
Did Sebastian ever sleepwalk?
No, ma'am.
Did the dogs follow the trail a half a mile?
So here we are again with this. Yes, they hit. Yes, they hit. Yes, they followed his scent to the construction site, to the retention pond. Oh, Linda Randalls, you ain't watched this till you've watched it with Jay is for Justice on our wonderful Wednesday watch party. Guys, tell Linda Randalls what she's missing.
Yes, ma'am.
They followed the trail all the way to that retention pond?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
That's very curious, as they are saying the dogs didn't pick anything up. Back to you, Brian Trasher. Would the dogs have barked if there had been an intruder or if Sebastian had left?
The dogs don't typically bark at me and Sebastian because they're used to us. Even if we get up, we come around, they don't typically bark. Strangers, they do tend to bark, at least for a minute or two to get attention. But no, ma'am, they don't typically bark at Sebastian and myself or Christopher.
What kind of dogs are they?
Morkies.
The YouTubers and TikTokers that do live stream probably do the most harm. We appreciate the attention that they bring to things, but when you do a live stream, you don't have any control over what gets seen by potentially the entire world. So we would, we can't tell people what not to do. They have free speech. It's their own accounts they're using.
Okay, this is where it got weird for me. This is an investigative journalist down at the bottom. And as he's talking about the live streaming, she's going, wow. I don't understand this part of the interview. And look at her face. She's like, shooketh. Her eyes are huge.
Morkies.
The YouTubers and TikTokers that do live stream probably do the most harm. We appreciate the attention that they bring to things, but when you do a live stream, you don't have any control over what gets seen by potentially the entire world. So we would, we can't tell people what not to do. They have free speech. It's their own accounts they're using. Not helpful to do live streams during searches like that. If you want to do it, do a video that you could potentially edit later, so that we cut down on the amount of misinformation. That's why social media is not necessarily your house. We go in and do search and rescue. You have to trust the process, like we do. We trust law enforcement is going to have this wrapped up probably very soon.
And Mr. Proudfoot, you have volunteered to take a poly?
Yes, ma'am.
He's gonna reiterate Seth right now. This is what Seth said. It wasn't necessary. You know why it wasn't necessary for Seth? Because they verified Seth was at work. Seth was actually at work. This guy's like, oh, because of my location, I didn't take one either.
Set up a poly for you, would you take it?
Name the place and time, ma'am. I'll be there.
So the law enforcement dogs did not hit on the retention pond. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying they did. There was at least 3 that I know for a fact that did hit on the retention pond.
And the pond, did the dogs follow the trail a half a mile?
Yes, ma'am.
They followed the trail all the way to that retention pond?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
That's very curious, as they are saying the dogs didn't pick anything up. Back to you, Brian. Would the dogs have barked if there had been an intruder or if Sebastian had left?
The dogs don't typically bark at me and Sebastian because they're used to us. Even if we get up, we
Doesn't
come around,
matter.
they don't typically
They
bark.
want out.
Strangers, they do tend to bark.
Yorkies, Morkies, tomato. If they want out of they don't like being in their pen, okay? Like if they see you out and about, their little asses want to be with you. They're dogs, right? They want to be with you. So if you're shuffling around, that's why the dogs weren't put up until she went to sleep, because the little fuckers will probably bark if she's up and about and they're in their pen. We all know how Yorkies are that have had Yorkies. Trust me. My Yorkies probably barked in the pen after I left as well. They bark at anything. And they haven't once, she hasn't once said, I just heard their little nails, I think, in the camper walking around. But she once hasn't said, help me find my son.
At least for a minute or two to get attention. But no, ma'am, they don't typically bark at Sebastian and myself or Christopher.
What kind of dogs are they?
Morkies.
The YouTubers and TikTokers that do live stream probably do the most harm. We appreciate the attention that they bring to things, but when you do a live stream, you don't have any control over what gets seen by potentially the entire world. So we would, we can't tell people what not to do. They have free speech. It's their own accounts they're using. Not helpful to do live streams during searches like that. If you want to do it, do a video that you could potentially edit later, so that we cut down on the amount of misinformation. That's why social media is not necessarily your house. We go in and do search and rescue. You have to trust the process, like we do. We trust law enforcement is going to have this wrapped up probably very soon.
So I know there's been a lot of talk about this guy from the United Cajun Navy, the VP of Cajun Navy, it says. And there's other groups, and there's the OG group from 2016. I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon that this guy's a fraud because I don't know. What I do know is weighing everything that's been put out there. Fine. Yeah, there was bad encounters that someone had, but also you have Nancy Grace, who has producers, and her producers, I would hope, vet her guests. And I would hope if he was on there and he was no good, that Nancy would find that out and correct that. But I'm just going to go with Nancy's reputation of decades and decades of being on TV, having guests on. So I don't know. But I would hope that he was vetted. Yeah, I did see there was 2 bodies found today, Perry County. It was a Nashville News that reported it. They were found in the water, but I think it was a child, a small child, they said, and I believe a female, but I'm not sure. Why would he be Chris's friend? I don't know. I hope not. God, I hope not. That would be messed up. Christine M. Now mom can have her creepy big mouth husband who can't get along with anyone. An old man and a child. Yeah, those dogs are expensive. They're very disconnected, aren't they, Southern? Thank you, Island. The press conference for the 2 bodies is in Discord. They are very yappers. I loved my Yorkies. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I love them, but they bark. They bark at air. I mean, and they will scare the living daylights out of you. They just bark out of the clear blue.
She said, we came home, we planted flowers on the side of the house.
Let's see if that was the last clip.
And Mr. Proudfoot, you have volunteered to take a poly?
Yes, ma'am.
If I were to set up a poly for you, would you take it?
Name the place and time, ma'am. I'll be there.
And a few others.
Yeah, I'm not going to, I wouldn't swear that the forensics folks showed up or not because there were so many folks in and out of the house that it was just, hi, I'm so-and-so with law enforcement. I'm so-and-so with law enforcement. Okay.
Every time they've said we need to look, or please do.
Okay, so that is the end of the Nancy Grace, but wait, there's more. I'm sure Sebastian loved the Yorkies, and I'm sure the Yorkies loved Sebastian. I have no doubt. Someone said True Crime with Eve has some dispatch audio. I am going to mosey over there. Let's play this clip with Chris first. So Chris on Duchess channel in interview number 1, Chris Proudfoot addressed someone in the chat named Julio. That was his buddy that was in there to oops. I guess his buddy was in there to like defend him or something. I don't know, but we got a big kick out of this because I guess Chris Proudfoot wants us to believe that this really wasn't him. that this was his buddy Julio that he used to work with that just felt so inclined to come into the live stream in Duchess and defend him. It's his buddy Julio. Let's watch. Thank you, Potato, for clipping Julio. Like My Pillow.
Julio, thank you so much for being here. Chris always treated my girls and son with nothing but kindness when we worked together. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here, Julio. I know that probably means a lot to him. That's right, Jennifer. I think everybody is searching. It doesn't sound like there's any animosity with anybody that's going on here. So, and please be respectful in the chat.
Wait for
if
Chris.
you want to come in here and attack the family, the moderators can show you to the door. There's no need to announce your departure. Light and Sound says, I pray he wasn't being bullied at school. I imagine classmates who knew him have been interviewed. And yes, I do believe Chris said that earlier. And did he typically take his phone places with him, guys, or did he normally leave it at home?
Believe it or not, it was actually a struggle to get him to carry his phone. He's not like your typical teenager. He's not these kids that, got to stick their head in the phone. He's not
glued to it.
He's not. Because of his restrictions, he knows that what it's for, it's a tool. It's not an entertainment device. He had his struggles with doing basic, simple things. And it was a constant reminder, a constant this. And all three parents have been extremely positive and constantly trying to get him like, hey, we got to do this, bud. We got to do that.
Take your phone.
Take your phone.
Teach him to be responsible and to think about it.
And then Julio, I can contest. We worked together out in San Diego, so he's amazing.
I think that's.
Did you hear him? Was it Julio or was it Chris? Let's play a game. Let's play a game before we listen to this dispatch audio.
Shall we play a game?
Julio, make yourself known. This is going to be your poll question. Was Julio Chris or Julio? Oh, Julio. He's pretty amazing. Julio's pretty amazing, according to Chris.
Amazing. We worked together out in San Diego, so he's amazing.
I think that's.
I have no idea when he was diagnosed with autism. I have no idea.
Julio, I can contest. We worked together out in San Diego, so he's amazing.
If that isn't nauseating, I don't know what is. Yeah, so Julio. So there was a guy named Julio in chat that was in there like, hey, Chris is nothing but kind to my girls when I worked with him. And then 2 minutes later, he continues talking. And then, oh, man. It's me and Julio down at the schoolyard.
And then, Julio, I can contest. We worked together out in San Diego, so he's amazing.
Okay, then, Chris.
In the name of Jesus, Father God, Lord.
Okay, let's play this audio. Excuse me. This is the dispatch audio and true crime with Eve. She has been in our chat a time or two and been on my panel before. This is her channel link. I'm just going to play it one time. And I don't know. There was like 200 people in the chat, and one of them just happened to be Julio. That was like, this is not fair. My buddy is respectful. Come on now. So True Crime with Eve has the dispatch audio after the call was made to the sheriff's department by Chris. This is the response of the dispatcher sending the officers to the house.
Do we have an estimated time of start for the search process?
Call came in at 6:33 this morning.
Great, thank you.
Heading missing juvenile, 1008 Stafford Court, 1008 Stafford Court, Hendersonville. Caller advised this morning they woke up and their 15-year-old male was not in the bed. We had a white male, 30 blonde hair, approximately 5 foot, 120 pounds. I was going to be wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants. Juvenile does have a form of autism. This is the first time it happened. I was going to be in the home before midnight. All the doors are locked at this time.
10-4 around.
47. I asked the call taker to ask if the juvenile has a phone. Great.
Hold on. I'm going to see if I slow this down just a poon hair and see if we can understand this better because she's talking really fast.
And I asked the call taker to ask if the juvenile has a phone. Great. Central to 68. I am Mrs. Fire Call.
It
is. It too slow?
Central to 47-180, Warren 12. Juvenile left his son at the house. The mother is driving around looking for him in the Victoria Place subdivision, and she is driving a baby blue Infiniti.
She drove the Infiniti around.
in the area. Check long hauls out to same way. You can take me off the assist fire. I'll be en route to the missing juvenile.
Next big track back up, going into the construction site over here back towards the beach.
Boy, I'm behind you. It's awful muddy. Do you see any footprints, anything? You shouldn't have any shoes on.
Negative, this is all dry, hard packed. I do have some footprints over here.
Footprints?
Right there where you're standing?
Yeah, leading right over here to the retaining pond.
No shoes, just footprints.
The shoes, Max went straight into the pond.
The shoes went straight into
Max led me straight to the retaining pond. Over behind Willow Boulevard, he dove right into the water.
What?
Have you seen any prints around it?
There was a few footprints in some of the softer dirt. Headed straight this way on the track that he was running.
Truck 47, what kind of shoe does he wear? Size 10. So to any units that are going to be assisting with 1008, please come to 1008 Stafford Court now, please.
Okay, sorry, I slowed it down because it was hard to keep up with. We'll play it on regular. Again, go subscribe to Eve. She's got this up. Thank you to Eve. Okay, I'm going to play it regular, and y'all see if you can understand it. I understood it better slow down, but I'll play it regular right now.
A start.
This is normal speed.
Call came in at 6:33 this morning.
Great, thank you.
Heading missing juvenile, 1008 Stafford Court, 1008 Stafford Court, Hendersonville. Caller advised this morning they woke up and their 15-year-old male was not in the bed. Medium white male, 3 blonde hair, approximately 5 foot, 120 pounds. I was going to be wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants. Juvenile does have a form of autism. This is the first time it happened. I was going to be in the home before midnight. All the doors are locked at this time.
10-4, now.
47. I asked the call taker to ask if the juvenile has a phone. Great. Central to 68. I am Mrs. Fire call.
It is.
Central to 47, 184 and 12. Juvenile left his son at the house. The mother is driving around looking for him in the Victoria Place subdivision, and she is driving a baby blue Infiniti.
I'm in the area. Check long hauls out, just same way. You can take me off the assist fire. I'll be en route to the missing juvenile.
Next big track back up, going into the construction site over here, back towards the beach.
I'm behind you. It's awful muddy. Do you see any footprints, anything? You shouldn't have any shoes on.
Negative, this is all dry, hard packed. I do have some footprints over here.
Right there where you're standing?
Yeah, leading right over here to the retaining pond.
No shoes, just footprints?
My shoes, but Max went straight into the pond.
It's shoes that went.
Max led me straight to the retaining pond. Over behind Willow Boulevard, he dove right into the water.
Yeah, do you see any prints around it?
There was a few footprints in some of the softer dirt, headed straight this way on the track that he was running.
How they?
1247. What kind of shoe does he wear?
How did they know that he was running? How in the world did they know that Sebastian was running? Yeah, he was gone the whole month of February. How does he know? Well, maybe when he got back. Who is saying running?
La 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 la. You don't hold.
Thank you for subscribing, Chris Immediato.
1247. What kind of shoe does he wear?
How did they know he was running? I think that Sebastian was in that pond and somebody moved him. I don't know who moved him. Somebody moved him because Sebastian wasn't wearing shoes, they said. So where's his shoes? Where are his shoes? Let's listen to that part again.
There was a few footprints in some of the softer dirt, headed straight this way on the track that he was running.
Ooh, Helen, yeah, probably.
1247. What kind of shoe does he wear? Size 10. To any units that are going to be assisting with 1008. Please come to 1008 Stafford Court now, please.
And that's where it ends. It's the distance between the footprints. Yes. He was running towards the pond. It was drained early on already. Chris said it was knee deep. Was someone chasing Sebastian into that pond? So did they see shoed footprints? Is that what I'm understanding? We need to break this down. And here is Eve's link again. That is dispatch audio of people on the scene speaking with one another on the radio. They said footprints, but then they said, what size shoe does he wear? And why would Sebastian be running towards the pond unless he was being chased? And we heard on Nancy Grace when Chris said tonight, there's 2 different ways to that construction site. They're putting a new road in. Remember, he was all familiar with the road. I wonder if that construction site is being worked on now. And I wonder if they're making progress on that road during the month he was gone. Because he knows that there's 2 ways you could get there. And he said that. And he said it was knee deep. And he said it was 3 feet deep. And they drained it. And they had his scent going to the pond. Someone moved him from the pond. That's why these 2 feel so confident that they know he's not going to be found. And then you also have the police saying that they searched in a 5-mile radius. In a 5-mile radius. And then we have this area cordoned off that's on federal property that's 6 miles, 1 mile outside of the radius that TBI and the sheriff's department said they were searching in. Leo, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that.
Search process.
Call came in at 6:33 this morning.
Great, thank you.
Heading missing juvenile, 1008 Stafford Court, 1008 Stafford Court, Hendersonville. Caller advised this morning they woke up and their 15-year-old male was not in the bed. We had a white male, 30 blonde hair, approximately 5 foot, 120 pounds. I was going to be wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants. Juvenile does have a form of autism. This is the first time it happened. I was going to be in the home before midnight. All the doors are locked at this time.
10-4, around.
47. I asked the call taker to ask if the juvenile has a gun. Great. Central to 68. I am Mrs. Fire Call.
It is.
Central to 47-180, 412. Juvenile left his son at the house. The mother is driving around looking for him in the Victoria Place subdivision, and she is driving a baby blue Infiniti.
I'm in the area. Check long hauls out.
He said at or about 620, Roxy.
You can take me off the assist fire. I'll be en route to the missing juvenile. Next big track back up, going into the construction site over here, back towards beach.
Towards beach.
I'm behind you. It's awful muddy. Do you see any footprints, anything? You shouldn't have any shoes on.
Negative. This is all dry, hard packed. I do have some footprints over here.
Right there where you're standing?
Yeah, leading right over here to the retaining pond.
No shoes, just footprints?
My shoes, but Max went straight into the pond. Max led me straight to the retaining pond. Over behind Willow Boulevard, he dove right into the water.
Yeah, do you see any footprints around it?
There was a few footprints in some of the softer dirt, headed straight this way on the track that he was running.
Truck 47, what kind of shoe does he wear? Size 10. To any units that are going to be assisting with 1008. Please come to 1008 Stafford Court now, please.
Well, that is pretty telling to what happened there. No, EquiSearch I don't think was involved. The sheriff's department, TBI, there was hundreds of officers They did a thorough 5-mile radius search. And didn't find anything. So now we have this sketchy area that was cordoned off 6 miles out. I think he got in trouble because she even said, "I could see if we were if we were fighting." And you guys believe that Chris is Julio too? What if? I mean, they had plenty of time. If you think about it, from 9 to 6, that's 6, 7, 8, 9 hours, and it's 3 hours and 37 minutes doorstep to doorstep. That gives them time to drive there and back. But we definitely know that there was a scent there, but why is it being denied that, like, why are they denying that it was there? BDAC, I think they have. And that's why he's like, "Oh, I don't remember." But it wasn't Chris's scent. It was Sebastian's scent running to the pond. They didn't follow it because of footprints. They found the footprints because of the scent. I mean, anything's possible, LA. 9 to 6, and they spoke for 3 hours on the phone, which would have been probably him driving home. The 3 hours driving home. Oh, Mike, thank you. Surprise gift memberships coming in hot. 5 of them. Welcome, guys. Thank you, Mike. Take advantage of your membership and join our Discord. I have an announcement to make. We have a very special April Fool's Day watch party in Discord. It's at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I hope that everybody will come in and watch with me. I can't wait to share with you this watch party. So it's going to be Monday, April 1st at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to have to stay up late for this one, but trust me, it'll be worth it. The 5 people that just got memberships, you are now accessible in our Discord. And so is Candace. Candace became a member of Patreon tonight. So thank you so much. We are making the most of Discord. We were all overwhelmed with it at first. We will walk you through. Let us know if you need help. We're here to help you. Baby girl, I don't think she's that smart. I'm just wondering at what time something would have happened, though, because how do we know where they went to dinner? She's like, "We went to dinner." Did he eat like fries at the bowling alley? Did they go to Chili's? Like where did they eat dinner? Land, that's true. It could be his girlfriend. How people like him get girlfriends, I don't know. All he had to do was leave his phone there. Well, they have that van. They have the work van from her technician job that he says hasn't moved. Max led me straight to the retaining pond. Paula, welcome. Sub up. We're almost to 100K. Let's do an official sub count. Let's do an official sub count. We are officially at 98,584 subscribers. We are getting so close, guys. Can't wait to celebrate with y'all. She never said where they ate. No one has asked. Write me out. Did they search a landfill in Kentucky in this case too? Yes, that was this case. That was where their garbage went because they're like North Tennessee. So their garbage goes to Kentucky. Yeah, I think so, Kimberly. Where did you hear that, Dragon? Where did you hear that where they went? Oh, I want Red Robin. I love Red Robin fries, Miss Robin. Rockin' Robin. We are going to be live tomorrow again at 3 p.m. Thank you guys for joining Wonderful Wednesday. I know we didn't take your calls, but I really wanted to get through the Nancy Grace tonight. So next Wednesday, we will open up the lines again and take some calls because it's going on 2 hours. But tomorrow at 3 o'clock, we're going to go through all the Diddy stuff. Diddy. We're going to go through that.
Hey, bro. I ain't
Sherry
finished.
just got
I ain't
herself
finished my
a
sentence.
spot on the wheel. Thank you, Sherry, for your $5 super chat. You guys, we made some leeway on our bars up above. We made some leeway. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah. Dragon, I don't know about that. At 10, she heard a thud, though. She heard a thud at 10. What was the thud? Welcome in, Rogue. Hey, cutie patootie, with your headphones and your guitar. Join us in Discord, Rogue. I hope to see everybody in Discord. We'll see you then. I'm going to wrap this up, guys. I'll give you a little preview of the Wheel of Friday, though, before we go. Did he do it or did he not? I think now he's did he done. Wheel of Friday is so much fun, guys. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for your support. Thank you for all of your subscribers. You're getting me really, really close to 100K, and I can't believe it. The Diddler, Diddy did do it. We're gonna go over that. We're gonna go over the lawsuit and the triple raid. Let's run our credits, and thank you so much, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for your support.
Where do you think you're going? Nobody's leaving. Nobody's walking out on this fun old-fashioned family Christmas. No, we're all in this together.
Be sure to check out my other videos and playlists for more true crime content. And if that's not enough, you can join our Patreon. Don't have a tinfoil hat? It's okay. We'll make you one. It's that easy. See you guys in the next video.
See you later. Bye.
I don't give a damn.
Oh my God.
I don't really
God
care.
forbid. God forbid. One comment.
I don't give a damn. You talk way too much. I have heard enough about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. 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 I don't give a damn.
I feel like I just hit a bug fly.
You wanna be with me. You wanna feel something real, but I'm feeling differently.
Why are people such idiots?
Wanna face the fact that I ain't got time, I'm sexy and I know it. I work out. Staying up late, sleeping all day, dreaming about Cadillacs. Buying new shoes, hanging by the pool, sipping on coke and Jack.
Betty's gonna be a man someday.
Hi, Jennifer.
Is it one Jennifer or two Jennifer?
Thanks so much, Jennifer.
Jennifer loves horses.